Can a narcissist change? Wow, that's a really huge question, isn't it? I'm going to talk to you about that question from my own perspective within my very long term marriage to a covert narcissist that no one would outside of our family relationship, outside of me and my two boys, would ever have suspected of being a covert narcissist. And of course, as you know, that's definitely par for the course. That's one of the traits that they have, these two personalities. The narcissistic side tends to be reserved for certain people, and other people see a completely different side. So, I'm going to talk to you about my experience in that marriage of him changing. But also, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and I specialize in trauma and abuse. I do a lot of work with people who have obviously been subject to narcissistic relationships, but I also work with people who have narcissistic traits, and people who are actually NPD diagnosed. And there's some very, very interesting things and observations to look at when we're asking the question, can a narcissist change? So let's have a look. So if we're going to look at neuroscience, obviously in the last few years, even, but certainly in the last 10, all of our understanding around narcissism, trauma, and neuroscience, how our brain and our mind functions, all of these things have come a very long way. And what neuroscience will tell us is that anyone can change. The mind is completely elastic. It learns by repetition. It creates neural pathways, and these neural pathways can be changed. So, our thoughts, our actions, our results, our beliefs, our perceptions, all of these things can change. And here's the key, if we want them to. So, when we're looking at the question of can a narcissist change, from my point of view as a hypnotherapist that deals with the subconscious mind, I would say yes, a narcissist can change, but there would be a proviso on that, as there is with anyone. You know, people contact me and say, oh, can you help my husband with this? Can you help my wife with this? Can you help my child with this? I can help anyone with anything if that is what they want. And here's the problem with a narcissist changing. The narcissist normally doesn't want to. Not even that they don't want to, they don't see the need to. They're looking at the relationship and everything that's going on around them with a completely different perspective to you. And they honestly, because of the way they see themselves, all the problems, as far as they are concerned, are with you. So they don't see the need to change themselves. And therein lies the first problem with can a narcissist change? But let's say we're talking about someone who has serious narcissistic traits. They're very high on the spectrum. Their narcissistic characteristics really come through. Their ability to gaslight, to manipulate, their lack of empathy, their lack of concern about your happiness, what's important to you, their ability to just totally as gaslight and change a situation. All of these traits that we know are narcissistic because they don't care about other people. So let's say we've got someone who's high on the narcissistic scale, and that person, for whatever reason, wants to change. And I have experienced, and people will tell you this doesn't happen, but remember, I'm talking from experience, from the work that I do. And I have actually been approached by people who recognize in themselves, they've probably been told by other people as well, these serious characteristics, these narcissistic traits, and they recognize that they themselves are very, very unhappy, and that because of the way they are treating someone, because of the way that they are showing up, in all of their relationships, in every aspect of their lives. They are losing things that are important to them. They're losing people, they're losing homes, jobs, environments, friends, family, all of these things. So if those people realize that the issues that they have are with them, and they very seriously want to change, then I can tell you those people can change. I have worked with those people as a hypnotherapist and seen serious changes in them. But the key to all of this is, does the person want to? Because it doesn't matter how much you want them to, how much you think they should. If they don't see it for themselves, if they don't want it, it doesn't matter what we do, how much work we do, how much information, tools, resources we give them. If they don't want to change, if they don't want to apply them, if they don't want to learn, then they're not going to. So the key to the question is, when you're asking, can a narcissist change? Then for me, the key to the answer is, does the narcissist want to change? That's the first thing. That's the really, really important thing. And then from there, can they? Now, I actually had an experience. There's actually another video on this. I had a conversation live with my husband, who is a covert narcissist, and he started to bring about some changes. The interesting thing about that was that he did a hypnotherapy session with me. But it was that session that led him really to really see himself and his behavior, and to start to ask questions about it. And it's fair to say that until then, he hadn't seen it. Now, he didn't come to me and say, "Hey, I can see all these horrible characteristics and behaviors, and now I understand some of the things you say when you say you're so unhappy and that I don't care about you, and all of these things." He didn't say that. What he said to me was, "Will you do a hypnotherapy session with me? Because I want to know why I'm so unhappy." So, what he had was a sense of his own unhappiness, not mine. Not mine, even though I'd been telling him. I've done another video recently. Oh, it's called "Is My Husband a Narcissist?" And in there, I tell you all the things that I was regularly telling my husband. Okay, so if you want to watch that one, it's my video on "Is My Husband a Narcissist?" So, and you'll see all the things that I was telling him that he was completely oblivious to, even when I was telling him. But so the hypnotherapy session was about what he thought, his unhappiness. And what the session actually uncovered for him was a sense of that he didn't deserve, that he somehow didn't deserve love, joy, happiness, success, all of those things. And it was a real eye opener from him. And it was from that that he started to do some work on himself. I was already doing a lot on myself anyway, work on himself to bring about some changes. But here's what I want you to understand about this: the changes he was bringing about were for himself. He wasn't thinking, how can I make these changes so that my wife will be happier? So that my wife understands that I do love her in my way. All of the things, he wasn't thinking any of that. He was actually focusing on those changes for himself. And the important thing to understand is that even his motivation for doing his work, while it was commendable and while it was great, and he did make some changes, which I'll tell you about, um, the motive itself, the focus was narcissistic. It was all about him. So, can a narcissist make changes? Yes, if they want to, and understand that their motive, and it may not be, right? My situation may not be yours. What he did may not be what someone else did, but it's understanding his motive. And it's important that we understand the motive, because it explains what happens next. Because he started to do some things. he started to try to not be so volatile, so critical, so judgmental, so focused on the negative. But what's important to understand is that he only took it so far. He took it as far as made him feel better, made him feel less depressed. And remember, this was about his unhappiness. And then he stopped. So he didn't really do very much work at all. It's also important to understand that it was very inconsistent. Okay, so it was as if it was taking him a real lot of effort to be and do these things, and the second his guard was down, he reverted. And even now, that's pretty much where he's at. He's done some work. It's limited. It's not consistent. Quite often his words and actions still don't match. I'm not with him any longer, so our interactions are limited. I see much more of a good side of him now, because of our interactions are limited. And I can see the changes that he's made. But again, because of this question of a narcissist is likely to make changes that benefit them rather than focused on you. So they're very limited. I do believe he could do more. He could do an awful lot more. And he could become a very different person, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't need to. He feels that he is in a better place, and that's enough for him. So hopefully that answers your question and gives you a perspective and some things to think about when you're looking at that question. Can a narcissist change? Does the narcissist want to? Understanding their motivations and the limitations. And the really important thing is not taking at face value when a narcissist simply says, oh, I'll just stop doing all of these things will be different. You cannot take that at face value. You cannot get sucked in. You have to be doing your own work, and you have to have really, really strong boundaries about what you allow. And what I really, really recommend, same as my husband and I did, is we did our work separately. So even though he said he was going to do all of these things and make all of these changes, I still left. I left for my protection, for my safety, so that I could do my growth, and so that I could observe. So that I could observe and say, is this a situation? Is this consistent? Is this something that supports and empowers me, and a situation where I can safely be back feeling that I am really important here? And the decisions are being made, and I'm being treated in a way that I deserve. I'm being listened to. I have a voice. This situation is safe, and I can continue my journey of becoming the very best version of myself. So I removed myself so that I could observe what was happening. And in fairness, it has never got to the point where I feel that I can safely go back into that situation. I'm not saying it never will, but that would take another step, another realization, more shifts from him. So, yes, let them do their work, but if you can, remove yourself, remove your children. Your children are being seriously affected by any narcissistic person around them. This is about your safety. If they're going to do their work, make changes, let them do it at a safe distance so that you can observe and you can decide when and if it's safe to go back in. So I really hope that helps you, and I'll just continue to provide you with these videos based on my personal experience and my work as a clinical hypnotherapist, all the masses of work that I've done with hundreds of clients on this topic. It's only now that I've decided I can probably make some videos about this to help more people. So if you like the content that I provide, please press the like button, leave a comment, which really helps YouTube push this out to more people. And if you would like to be notified as I make these videos, press the subscribe and press the notifications. When you press the notification button, press all, and it will give you all the notifications. I don't make many, you won't get inundated, but it means you won't miss anything that I've got to share with you. So I really hope that's helpful to you and gives you something to think about. And so that's it. Till the next video. Thanks for watching.